we're just gonna spend a little while talking about Welcome to Twilight and the Minor Threats universe and your comic stuff and all that to kind of make it a fun little panel about making comics,
Well,
making
we
funny
can do
books.
that, or we can go item by item on your back wall there and talk
That's
about.
fine too. Yeah, we could talk about my talking tick figure that I spent way too much money on.
What about your Wild Child Age of Apocalypse shirt? We can start
Oh
there.
yes, yes. This shirt, and I got to tell you, this shirt is it's a treasure of mine. It's from this dude who he recreates old Marvel shirts from like the '90s that you like didn't get in the in the pages of your old Marvel comics, like the image of Eric Larson's Venom like jumping at Spider-Man. That shirt with the lines. He recreated that shirt unofficially, of course. I can't, I don't want to out him out, but yeah, I saw it because Daniel Warren Johnson had the Predator first issue from Dark Horse shirt. And I was like, D-Dubs, where did you get that shirt? He's like, oh, you got to go weaponprime.com. Like he was a walking commercial for them. And they're super.
I got a list of things in 2 minutes. I got Pig. I got Weapon.
Yeah,
what was it called?
weaponprime.com and
Weapon
watch
Prime.
Pig. Welcome to the show, everybody. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. Look at this panel of incredible talent. But yeah, we got Jordan Blum, Sue Lee, and Brian Michael Bendis and Patton Oswalt. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having me.
Such a pleasure. Yeah. Oh my God. I've been such an admirer, Sue, of your work, your amazing covers. For
thank you.
Brian Michael Bendis, you're working on Welcome to Twilight. I believe it's issue 2.
Yep. It's
and
us together, me and Sue together, created
yeah, that's right.
Character in a little pocket of the universe for everyone to play with, and it was, I must say, I'm not just saying that because they're on the call, a tremendously great experience. Sometimes you get pitched ideas like, hey, come be part of this, it'll be fun, and you're like, oh, that could have been fun, I'm sorry it wasn't. And then but this was as advertised, if not a little more so, and it hit me right exactly where I needed to be creatively at the moment. It was a great little puzzle to solve. I got a new collaborator out of the situation, and just enjoyed it tremendously. And not to bury the lead, but it got me off my ass on something else I needed to do in my life in a very positive way. They know, I've told them already that this hit me right and got me going on something that ended up paying off huge. So this was a gift. Making it was a gift. Getting offered it was a gift, and the fallout already has been a gift, and it hasn't even come out yet. So it's kind of great for one comic.
He's talking about starting Pilates. He had always wanted to start Pilates.
You know,
this really got him onto the Transformer.
I was waiting for my 70s, but I go, I'll start now. I think I got it. So
yeah. Well, if you want to keep it in your 70s, you got to start now. You got to
get that
flexibility going, right? You got to be kind to your knees. Jordan, Patton, the creators of, well, not including the artists, but of course the creators of the Minor Threats universe, gentlemen, why don't you give us a little bit of an insight into what Welcome to Twilight is, the concept thereof, and where that came from, and how your collaborations with these incredible talented people began.
Yeah, I mean, it's us begging people who we love to come play in the sandbox. It's like, let's shoot our shot, right? On people who have inspired us, or people whose books we pick up regularly, and make us want to be better at comics, and see if they'd have any interest in coming and kind of adding. And I think the big thing for Twilight was like creating the space where we really want them to do what we love and what they do so well, and we wanted to open it up. So do you want to use characters that exist, add new characters to the universe, and I think Brian, you can go from there. We wanted to make something that also counts and can be built upon in the other books and be used. So that was kind of the starting point.
Yeah,
but it also had its origins in when Tim Seeley pitched us the alternates, and we saw how the world could be expanded, and we very quickly got addicted to that idea. That became so exciting for us, and then it got even more exciting with Barfly, because that was a character that was just wordlessly sitting at a bar, this human fly hybrid that Ryan Brown just brought just had a whole other story there. So like, let's do little individual stories, like every city has 1,000 stories in it, and Brian brought us this. I mean, all the stories in this Welcome to Twilight are amazing. His is so pushes into this other world, and but I can't spoil it. But it was again amazing, endlessly amazing.
No, I'll spoil it. Well, I'll tell you the thing I really like about this whole situation is, and particularly as we get older, you kind of figure out the collaboration is everything. Like great if it works, great if it doesn't. But the actual act of collaboration and trying to rise to the occasion of the collaborations put in front of you is a big part of it. And then watching people do it well and watching Jordan and Patton just be excellent collaborators to themselves, and you get to cheer it on from a distance as we were just as fellow Dark Horse creators, like, oh, look, they're having a great time. And I'm selfishly like thrilled that Jordan just keeps Patton in comics where he belongs. And so it's like, so that's all great. And then to be asked to be part of it, like, hey, and it is about collaboration. You're right. To what you're watching is all about people just eager for the experience of collaboration. I also, Pat and Jordan, I don't want to put this on you guys, but I'm such a comedy nerd, and watching certain comedy collaborations, there's a special energy there that's different than literary collaboration. But I watch you guys kind of bring the comedy room or improv elements to the comic book space, and I think that's like the healthiest way to do it. And I was like very just as a fan of all of that philosophy. I was like, oh yeah, let's apply it and let's see if it works. And so not only is it that, but there's my pal Matt and Mike Allred, who I grew up with. These are all people like I have a lot of affection for, and everyone's coming at it from a different angle, and everyone's like kind of Jenga towering this, and it's up to Jordan and Patton to go to like keep it healthy and going, and they did the whole time. And yeah, it's kind of great. I don't mean to talk for Sue, but I just was like so into the collaboration, the art of the collaboration, that I wanted to run towards it and see if it would feel as good as it looked, and it did. So, how
Yeah.
about you, Sue? Sorry to.
No. I mean, honestly, like Bendis is a hero, right? So it's like having him work with me, and then also, of course, Patton and Jordan, I was immediately intimidated and also frightened, because I was like, okay, I gotta step it up. I don't know what I'm doing. Of course I know what I'm doing, but I question everything that I've done for the past X amount of years, and make sure it's something that's I really think Minor Threats is such an interesting and cool story. And when I was sent, the books to read it over, and I was like, no, I really want to be a part of this universe, right? And like, not only is it a dream to work with this crew, right? I have like massive respect for everyone, like literally everyone on all of the Minor Threats universe, the Twilight series, the Barfly, like the main series in general. I was like, this is like an absolute all-star cast. And the fact that I got to play in that sandbox with Bendis, I was like, I'm gonna keep calling Brian Bendis, only out of respect for the podcast, just so the folks know. But I wanted to make sure that I can visually like step it up with all these people that I truly respect and like I've dreamt of working with forever. But then as I got into it, I was like, no, I think what we created is something really unique, right? Everyone has a very unique story, but I'm like, the fact that Brian was like, no, I want you to put what you think into my flavor and like what I the style of the story I want to be told. And I was like, I'm very passionate about like Asian characters and Asian American like representation, right? And so anytime I can just ham fist head into people's faces, I'm absolutely going to. And everyone has been super generous, and allowing me to do that is honestly a dream come true. Like it's I cannot gush enough about how I am so like blessed, honored, like I don't know what all the words are, but truly like super grateful and thankful. It's been super fun too. And I haven't had that in a long time. Like we have fun in comics, but there's sometimes where it becomes work, like 50 work, 50 fun. This has become like 80% fun and then the rest is work, which is kind of rare, I think, nowadays in comics.
I'm thrilled to hear that. That literally that was my goal personally. It was like, let's if we're not having fun doing this, then literally why are we doing it? A lot of the question I ask of a lot of the things we do in this business, but that was thrilling. And just, it's so funny. I don't know, Patton and Jordan, if you've discovered this, but as we've gotten older, I can look at people's like line choices, like the line that they're using, like the pen they're using,
Mhm.
and I go, I bet we'd be friends, just like based on like the brushstroke. And I've been right a few times. Like I'm like like Ryan Sook was someone I've admired my whole life. And then we got to do Legion together. And the whole time I was at Marvel, I go, I bet, I bet we'd be pals. And it just based on line weight. And I felt like meeting Carmilla, I felt the same about Sue. I just like this is someone whose art is
Mhm.
speaking to me. Not just wow, I like their art, but like I'm feeling something here that is unique to comics. And I tend to want to run towards it. But so when this came about, and Sue knows because I had already asked you to do a couple of variant covers on our Dark Horse books. Like I was already wanting to see Sue drawing things that were in my head, right? And so when this offer came about, and it was through our Daniel Shaban who edits all of our stuff individually, it put it all together in the perfect space. And my goal was to, for this one issue, have this pure, great creative. Like we couldn't do it separate from each other. Like that's what I would like. That's the goal always. I think Jordan and Patton feel that all the time. Like, oh, let's create something I know I couldn't do on my own, right? So when I came to you with like, what's on your mind? What are you? And I've done this a few times with other artists too. I'm like, what are you sketching? And you don't even know why you're sketching it. Like, well, what's coming out of the pen? And let's talk about that. And so Sue like through all these designs, and I was like, yep, there you go. We're almost done. It was quite wonderful. Yeah.
I feel like I'm striving to get to where you're at because I think part of coming from like TV to comics is like letting go of control and obviously art drives this entire thing. And there's a
Yes.
bit of a learning curve of like, no, you're there to make the artist look good and write what they want to draw, not because you have to control the story and it's your vision. Blah, blah, blah. And I think like I always see Brian, you're so good at that, and I feel like that real, especially on this project, I feel like Sue, when your designs came in, it just all clicked like immediately.
Yeah.
Because Brian, we had talks of like what the story was going to be a little bit. I mean, first it was like an hour of me being like, in Uncanny X-Men number 64, panel 3, and like finally we got to your story. And we were talking about it and who the character was and how she's going to relate to Frankie. And you had a vision for it, but really it was the moment those designs came in, I was like, I 100% get what this is going to be. And I think it's to your collaboration.
Yeah.
But also, let me ask Brian a question really quick, because I also was freaking out when Sue's sketches and art started coming in. But when we first start getting Scott Hepburn's art and sketches for some of these characters, it changed the way that we wrote, because now he added aspects of the personality that we hadn't even thought of, and went, oh wait, so that would mean she would do. That having that kind of stuff happen feels like director and cinematographer. A lot of times, the director goes, "I have an idea for this scene," and the artist is forever going, instead of doing it in 4 boxes, you could do this as a splash page. It has the same emotion. You're like, "That's right." So like those moments of genuine collaboration where the collaboration nurtures what you're doing artistically. Did that happen as you were writing this with Sue?
Yeah, and that's what you're going for. I mean, not to get too cheeky about improv, but it's very yes and
Yeah.
it's the visual version of yes and. That's why I keep like hyper focusing on that part of your comedy world, but like there's lessons to learn there. And
Mm-hmm.
I kind of started doing it earlier in my career without knowing that. I would just well like I was just benefiting from. I had a couple things. Number one was like years ago, Joe Quesada was like saying, hey, listen, you're a good collaborator and you're open hearted, but you got to know that you're like number one on the call sheet. So like when you're making demands, everyone's like taking that to heart. And even if you say, hey, draw whatever you want, but draw this, you're saying, but draw this, right? So it did
Yeah, yeah.
change my thinking about how I communicate. No, I really mean, what do you want to draw? So don't come at them with a full script and go, and whatever else you want to draw. It's like, let's start with what do you want to draw, and then we'll build from there. And also, you like, just selfishly, and you've experienced this, I know, where if like you say to someone, hey, what do you want to draw? And they go, I want to draw a fucking dinosaur. You know you're going to get the best drawing of a dinosaur you've seen in 3 years, and then you get credit for it. Like you like, wow, look at that dinosaur. I'm like, yeah, that was coming. I found a good space for it. So it was learning over time how to communicate how much I mean. Yeah, what do you got? Like, let's take it from there. And if I didn't have something to add to it, I would I would do that. But my instinct is always, well, you're a writer, add to it. There's no scenario that you can't find a way in. And for this particular instance, and what I always go to is when we're in the fantastical, there's always something in the real world that lets me ground it to why I fully believe in what's going on. And
Yeah.
like, both in the world I grew up in Cleveland and here in Portland, there are some sketchy parts of the world where they're constantly like just illuminating human depravity or stuff that you would never think of, that just allows me to go, okay, there's something I want to do. And there's stuff going on downtown Portland right now that is very similar to some things that I hint, including the politics of the zombie mall and everything that is going on. So if I believe it, I can get it there, if that makes sense. So it's a mixture of the two things. It's number one, trying to really communicate collaboration and being up for it. And Sue, I will say this, I hope I can rise to the occasion of this. Never goes away, and it's how all I felt the entire time as well. Like, I felt like I can't do what you do, so let me rise to the occasion of being worthy of being on the same page as you. And it doesn't matter what happened before or how many comics I've made, it never goes away. So good news, it never goes away. Yeah.
I mean, like,
oh, go ahead, Sue. Go
oh
ahead.
no,
Sorry.
I was just gonna say it's been super easy working with Brian, honestly, you know, and it's just been like, I've had no contention with anybody in any parts of it, and I just felt so nurtured, which is so weird to say, you know. Everyone was just like super supportive of everything I wanted to do. So yeah, I mean,
Oh, there's
that's
no
how
butt
I
there.
feel
Oh, thank
too.
God. I felt the butt coming.
No, no buts.
There's a cover image for this series, this single issue that Sue drew, where it's I don't want to. I'm trying to do that spoiling. It's the main character kind of in the foreground, her club and her blue costume, but Frankie is standing in the background, kind of leaning against the wall of this alley, and the way she is leaning against the wall made me rethink how I knew Frankie as a person. Because when we meet Frankie, she's in her 40s, she has wisdom and humility, and what Sue was able to find, and Mike, Brian, obviously in his writing, but Sue, just in a wordless picture. Oh, there was a time when Frankie was a teenager who thought she fucking knew everything and didn't realize she was heading for some hard lessons. That Sue captured a Frankie that if you'd met her at that time, you could tell her anything, you couldn't teach her anything because she knew everything and didn't need to hear. Like it opened a whole new aspect of her personality to me that I don't think I would have gotten to if I hadn't seen how Sue, as a cinematographer and almost as an acting coach, was like, no, do this. You're not that smart yet, so you would be doing this.
Right.
It really blew me away. And I don't want to, you'll know it when you see it. When you see this cover image, you go, oh, that's a younger, stupider Frankie.
Right. And that's the heart of the story they're telling, right? Is that this is, two people who meet as kids, headstrong coming of age villains who think they can take on the world,
Yes.
and they come back together as adults, who've been through it.
Yeah, and it also allowed me to. I always wanted. I love supervillain team up. When I was a kid, it's just such a what a
Weird
conceit.
book. Yeah.
As an ongoing, what a conceit that is, and it was exciting to visit that. But yeah, I think what you're talking about, Patton, is, and I did a couple times in the book where I had written dialogue, but it was all there visually. You saw me gut it. I was like, no,
Yeah,
don't need to say it. I'm
you're
we're
like,
shut.
no, she's not. Sue captured the character in some ways better than the dialogue could, because you're like, this dialogue is too smart for this character. This character doesn't know enough yet, which is a very real thing. And I think a lot of us block that out. Like a lot of us shy away from how we were when we were 15, 16, because we're idiots. So to be able to embrace that and just look at that without flinching visually is amazing.
Do you have any of your high school friends still?
Oh, I have my friends that I had in kindergarten. I still have. There's a group of 5 of us. We're on a text thread, and we very much stay in touch.
No, that's awesome.
Like I
Because
still need that connection.
yeah, I'm because part of what was in this is I'm still very close with my closest friends from high school, and there's yeah, and it's a little different. Like kids that come and go, but we're very much in communication, and you can't help but remember the snarkiest version of yourself when you were growing up. Like I remember like
Yep.
the
Oh,
dumbest thing I said, not the kindest thing I said. I only remember the dumb things. So like I
yes.
literally had said to friends recently, "Hey, I wasn't like also what I thought was funny back then is completely so just like getting there emotionally is a lot to do with what this story was about. It's
Do you
like
Yeah. The
regret
things.
it?
uniting with a friend.
Well,
Pardon?
it's weird how you mentioned that. One of the things I remember a lot are the things I said that I thought were clever and true at the time, and I look back and go, "You're just being fucking mean. You were being mean because you were scared. That's why you were. That's why you acted that way."
Yeah, and I'm grateful. I'm talking for my friends that I'm like, oh, they're like, no, I don't remember. I know you were, you're a little sweetie pie. Don't worry about it. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
because all I remember was, Baba Booey jokes and whatever the fuck. But anyway, but that was the emotional thrust of being
Yeah.
reunited with someone you deeply care for, and there was no breakup. It was just some life happened, and for a lot of us, just college happened, and then you're like, and then
Yep.
life takes you somewhere else, and you get reunited. Go, oh yeah, I love you. And also, there's all the credits in the bank. Whatever you need, I'm here. And I'm glad
You ever go back to like your high school reunion and you meet your old enemies and there's this unspoken like, what the fuck was that all about? I'm sorry, man. I don't know what were we doing? And they're like, I don't. And dude, and all they got to go is, I was 15. You're like, you're forgiven. We're idiots. Sorry.
I went to a very small private Jewish school, so it's very tight. There's no reunion. But
Oh,
the guy in grade school, and every guy has this. The guy who kicked you in the balls for the first time someone needs you in the balls, is you never forget. You never forget. It's a very unique pain. It's delayed. And that person, who is the person that need me in the balls, is a very well-known entertainment attorney in Hollywood, and might be your lawyer. Like that's how big of a lawyer he is, and has reached out to me numerous times. Go, Brian, we're both in Hollywood, and I'm like, yeah, dude. All I know is that you kicked me in the ball. Like that's all you are to me.
Your
Is the
core
guy
memory. Yeah.
Yeah.
the guy kicked me in the balls, and you have still not apologized. That's it.
It sounds like that really prepared him for the job. I mean, it sounds like he's got the tenacity that he can really make it work in that town.
Yeah, and again, I don't think he remembers. This is fifth grade. He doesn't remember this. I don't remember what it's about. It's just,
Yeah.
it's just,
I only
everyone-
really remember getting kicked than doing the kicking.
But who gets an email from the guy 20 years later going, hey, I'm like, no, hey, no.
Yeah. Just send one line. You kicked me in the nards. And then
Yeah.
I didn't know what to do. I did.
Bendis has nards.
Totally good layup there.
Yeah,
It
thank you.
sounds like Welcome to Twilight has an opportunity for all of you as creatives to bring it kind of like to bring different emotional textures than you usually get to explore. Is that the case for you guys? And if so, what were some of the more emotional, like one of the more gratifying opportunities to go like, oh, I can really do something here with this particular genre, story, and format?
Sue, you want to take? I feel I'm talking a lot.
Sure. So when, when everyone allowed me to pitch this idea of like, the Twilight's version of Chinatown, I was like, but that only makes sense, right? I mean, it's like such a cool trope. I'm like a diehard Chinatown fan. Like, I mean, the movie, and also like all of the Chinatowns in like America and the world, right? It's like such a staple in every city, right? In every big metropolitan city. So I was like, wait, why wouldn't this make sense? Right? Why wouldn't this world fit totally in? I mean, we can have the weirdest characters, the weirdest, like weird as in like things that people haven't been exposed to yet, but very normal for me, things that I already know about, or characters or names, like that Bendis chosen, like that we chose together as well. I was like, these are things that I know of. These are tropes that I know of, but why not introduce it to Twilight, to the Minor Threats world? It's such a perfect I feel like it's such a perfect way to introduce the craziest, strangest, like off the wall characters, because Chinatown also plays by its own rules, kind of, right? Like every neighborhood has its own thing. And I feel like this has become, Brian and I's like my neighborhood, right, in the universe. And I feel like that's something very special. And to take charge of that it's pretty important to me. Like I want to be able to tell a good story that's fun for everyone, that's also welcoming, but it'll be like, hey, this is a thing. This is like a fun thing that you can, kind of take a peek into, and then also make it our whole like own world. So
Yeah.
I think it's just been like amazing.
And I'm a big fan of just the history of organized crime in America and how cultural it is, and how these key things, mythologies and ideas and characterizations come from other countries and other cultures and come here and become part of a bigger stew, and some of it stays pure and some of it evolves, some of it gets abused and manipulated for effect. That goes like Italians and Jews, and it goes to every culture, and some of them mix and match. And so when Sue offered these characters, and then you looked at what was already built in Minor Threats, it was an easy building of this section of the city that maybe we haven't seen yet because we just haven't dealt with it yet. It was also, man, one of the real blessing here was also how early goings it was for Minor Threats. They weren't like 3 years into their run. They were a couple of
Yeah.
mini-series in the run. So it really is, versus like a Marvel universe where like everything is built, and you're looking to yes and something. Here, they're still building their Lego city, and we can carve off a block and have fun with it. And also the balance, and I think Jordan and Patton saw like all the drafts were about that balance of you want to give enough to be interesting, but not so much that you've like blown out, like there's nothing else to learn about this. Like there's tons more to learn. And so it's there to build on, and for Frankie to dive into if need be. So yeah.
Yeah. Brian, was it hard as a writer who loves to, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but to explore the space, literarily speaking, to keep your work contained to kind of like one story, one
No,
issue?
I like having both, and that's part of what I liked about working in shared universes is that the challenge in itself is what can you bring to the table, like and not only for Marvel and DC, but like even when you're doing Carmilla, you're adding to mythologies, right? And you're like, so
Mhm.
what can I add to this that's legitimate and helpful and building, and yes, and the whole idea more versus so. I actually like look at it like some of my favorite quotes from filmmakers and artists are what like give me a limitation, give me a budget. Nothing makes me better. There's a Ridley Scott quote I live by, which is, "Boy, I never made a better movie than when I didn't have enough money." They always give me like all these movies. They give me all the money I want, but my best movie is Blade Runner because I didn't have any money. I
Yeah.
made better choices. Right. So I'm like, so whatever the limitation is, whether it be financial and or just space, I always look at that as the gift. All right, now make something cool out of it. Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
opposite. And with the
Smart.
benefit, if I want to go nuts and build a world from scratch, then me and my friend Andre Lima are going to create Phenomena book series on sale now from Abrams Comics Art and go crazy, right? So, and we have that with Powers as well, where I can build with my friends something from scratch. And if that's the itch I need to scratch, that's where I will go. But if I'm into this idea of collaborating, then yeah, let's enjoy what it is, which is you're doing that. But not only is it with these guys, knowing that Matt and Mike and Gail and like everybody else was also building something while we're building was both exciting and boy, I hope we don't write the bad one.
No, for us, right? Like Minor Threats is a very character-driven superhero world where the superhero world is very implied. He's talked 60 years of superhero comedy just happened in the background. Don't worry about that story. We're following this deeply personal, small story, and I think each of the books that have come out of it, and even the stories in Twilight, come from people just asking very small character questions. I think that's what you guys did so well. It's like, okay, Frankie grew up as a teen villain sidekick. Who was her best friend? Who do you connect with when that's the life you've grown up in? And then you built this amazing new character who came from similar circumstances that would unite these two girls at a young age and create this history that they'd call upon each other, as the years went by. And I think that was such a cool thing to just start with that. I don't know if that's where you started. That's my assumption, Brian.
No,
But yeah.
you're two things. Number one, like even when you're working at Marvel and we've all done it. Like when you were guys are writing MODOK, you didn't like go, okay, everyone stop. Let me tell you everything that's ever happened to MODOK. No, it's like, here's what's happening right now to this character. And if you happen to know the other stuff, great. If not, hope this inspires you to dive in. But like, it's never a good idea to like just be consumed with the continuity. It's what are the characters feeling in the moment, and
Yeah.
don't disregard the continuity. You use it as a tool of just like any character has a history, any person has a history, but you don't like just luxuriate in it to the point where you're not doing anything new, right? So that there's that. And number two, yeah, it was like reading Minor Threats and read like, well, you know what Frankie needs? She needs a friend that she can, even if they don't get along all the time, she can trust this person. This person will be an honest voice in her life. And I thought that would be an interesting challenge for this new chapter in her life, is that we introduce someone who's gonna maybe either help her or contradict her, but always in friendship. And I kind of like that. And as again as the years go by, you kind of really uh kind of want that only in friendship. Like just please just be a good friend. Just be honest and true and tell me when I'm fucking up. And so I think we've all been in spaces where you just want someone to be honest with you, and that's what I think the relationship can be going forward. So
Yeah. Were there Sue, were there any moments that Brian gave you and Brian vice versa that Sue gave you that were in the script that really surprised you, that really clicked for you, where you were like, "Oh," and then gave you something that was completely unexpected?
was it Zombie Mall?
Zombie wall, yeah. No, I mean, a lot of it was like, oh, okay, I see what you're doing. I as I was going on with the story, and I like with the friendship thing, I connected because at first I was like, okay, well, it's just like a childhood friend thing, right? And then as I kept going and as I drew it, I was like, I don't know, I really love that we're going back to just I grew up with like you know, movies and TV shows of just like girls causing havoc and like, you know, a team up thing, you know, like The Craft or, you know, Clueless even, right? Or just like just girls being, you know, crazy, you know, and teaming up and being bad and just weird and sassy. And that's how I grew up too, right? Like I've had like ride or die girlfriends, and we were just like, you know, pieces of shit teenage girls, right? Just like in New York City, you know, going to bars at like I'm not going to say, but I'm just saying, you know, like there's things that we did back in the day, right? Back in our day. But it's like, you know, and I really appreciated the relationship more. And I'm like, no, I know a version of a Frankie growing up, you know, like I hung around with, you know, people when you connect in a level and you guys feel like you're outsiders in many ways, right? These characters are outsiders in like in more ways than one that I think I can relate to. And I'm not sure if it's if you guys picked up on it or not, right? Like just like the kind of characters that they are, their backgrounds and their cultures, and then like those two different cultures coming in and becoming friends. I'm like, that was me, right? Like I've had like friends in like the Bronx and Brooklyn, and you know what I mean? And just like growing up like that, I was like, I feel something with that. And it's just very like very 2000s genre of like just like girls teaming up and just like, you know, just being like terrible. Right? It's like there's something nostalgic that I've been craving with that. And I feel like, you know, if we continue on, that there's some real stuff that we can build up on just that trope alone. I think we can like cause a lot of fun havoc, you know. And so it was like I don't want to spoil it, the last page, I was like, yeah, that's how I would feel too. Like I'm not connected with a lot of I'm the odd one out where I'm not friends with a lot of people from my childhood. Also, maybe it's a city thing, you know, it's like everything is fast paced. So, but then it also made me relate to these characters as well. It's like, you know, boom, this person comes into your life out of nowhere, and then that last page, I was like, oh, there's some hopefulness I have there. That there's some like, oh, I want to, you know, I can taste it, I can feel, I can do something with that. And I don't know if you picked up on that as well, Brian, but I definitely did, and it really connected with me.
I'm thrilled to hear it. And what I was really kind of hooked into is like a character like Frankie must feel most of the time like no one understands what I'm going through with how I'm being raised and what the situation
Right.
is. And even like showing her on the docks with all the other, like what would be the Young Justice slash Runaways of the Minor Threats universe. Like all the
Yeah.
kids are hanging out, and even in that group, she stands out. Like even like she's not like the others, and that she feels very other the whole time. So and all of us know what they feel. All you need is one other person for you to go, oh, okay. I just need one other person to be able to relate to. And so even though they're being raised very differently, how they feel about it is identical and completely the basis of their relationship now and going forward. Like we will never not be friends because of how you made me feel on the dock that day, where it was the first time in my life I didn't feel completely alone in the universe. And I know I'm being raised crazy, you're being raised crazy, and now we're raising crazy. Like that's it's a very unique way to have a friendship. But I think regardless of the criminality of it, a lot of people know just other, like so many of my friends are like, the basis of our friendship is our mothers made us feel a certain way.
I mean, it truly is like the Step Brothers moment where like, did we just become best friends? It really is
I
like
may have
that.
even written that in the script because it is such a great, truly
Yeah.
great writing moment because
Yeah.
everyone knows, that's why it's such a meme. Everyone knows that moment, you know, and it can absolutely come from a Randy Jackson signed samurai sword. So.
That's my favorite scene, I think, in the whole book is there a reason we're not saying her name to Kabi, like our new
Oh,
character?
yeah, Uni, yeah.
Oh, Tokebi? Okay, sure. Tokebi is the new
Tokebi.
character, right? So I just didn't want to spoil anything. Or AK
I was so
or her
nervous. I didn't want to say anything.
or Uni, you know, but
Uni.
Yes.
yeah.
So there's a scene, right, where they've met, and then I think Brian, you had like a really funny thing of like 3 days into their like first caper, like the crime spree or something. And it's these two teens who've always worked for their parents doing something on their own together, and they're robbing a jewelry store or bank or something, but they're just talking about their parents, and this one not knowing her father, and how, you know, how hard this one's mother is. And I think like that to me is like exactly what we're looking for in Minor
Thank
Threats,
you.
is that
It's a bit I stole from my Miles Morales run, where it's a great, it's a comics only kind of time thing where it's a continuous conversation, but literally we're changing locations in between sentences. So it's a montage, but it's a bullshit montage, like it's just getting across a lot of stuff that's happened. And also, I love the joke, and I'm sure I stole it from Soderbergh somewhere, where they're having a very mundane friendship conversation, but what they're doing, it's very Clooney Pitt in Ocean's 11 kind of idea,
yes.
where
Yeah.
they're talking about Oprah, but they're robbing a bank, right? I find that to be very truthful conversations anyway. So it also lets you know, oh, they're really getting to know each other, even if we're just getting little bits and pieces of the conversation. But we imagine this conversation is now going on for days, and by the end of it, they're besties. That's it. It's like going to summer camp, end of the season. Oh, we're done. Yeah, that's it. We're friends forever. We know everything about each other.
I mean,
So
as a girl, I'm just gonna say, like, there's a truth to, girl camaraderie that actually does happen. We're a lot more open to being like, okay, let's just like bare our souls out and then just be friends forever, there's like, we're not really scared of that, I think, is the difference.
yeah, absolutely.
Jordan and Patton, this is a question kind of just for you guys and kind of tying things together. But is there anything, as the kind of overseers of this universe that you guys have brought to the table, that you find yourself looking for, or maybe hoping to find, when you get these kind of concepts back from, the creative process, that you're kind of like, that you want to kind of shepherd and bring your own stylings to, or that you're hoping will be completely separate from your own kind of perspective?
And follow up, did you get what you wanted out of this
Did you
experience?
get
No, like when you started this, did this feel the way you wanted it to feel, or did it feel different, or?
I wanted the same feeling you get when a favorite character or favorite group of characters is in the hands of a new writing artist team. And we all have had that moment when a run you've been reading, that ends next month. These people, what are they going to do with it? And they either take it in a great direction or they completely drop the bag. And I don't want to, I don't believe in false modesty. These 4 issues, each team took characters in the most amazing directions and added to the world in such great ways. We had Mad Max, and you guys came along and turned it into the Road Warrior. Like, you took what we did and went through the door with it, and that is what matters the most.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm
if you
aiming for
look at,
Thunderdome, but whatever.
if you look at Marvel and DC, right, like, you love the tapestry of voices who have added to it. You don't just love Stan Lee, or just love, I mean, you can't just love Jack Kirby. I was going to say you can, that besides him, everyone else, you love that there's been hundreds of artists and writers who have brought their voice in to populate this world or take a character in a different direction. And that's what we wanted. We wanted these specific voices to build and add and and to what's come before it, and nailed the 2 things I think that make My Threats are, again, character driven and a POV we rarely see in superhero comics. And I think for us too is then we got to so that this new character who's introduced is going to be in Minor Threats Volume 3, and will be a part of that story.
Yeah.
Because we got excited. We're like, we want to play with those toys, in the same way.
That honestly, genuinely thrills us to bits. Like, it's so much better than, okay, thank you.
You guys look like you had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That's
I
the
will
biggest compliment when a band goes up and they come off like, what'd you think? Well, you guys look like you had a lot of fun up there, man. Oh,
Yeah, the lighting package looked really anyway.
oh,
So
the other terrible thing you don't want to hear as a comedian when you come off stage, the manager goes, "You know what? Fuck these people. They don't know it. They don't know shit. It's a Thursday night crowd, man. Don't even think about this. All right.
And you're like, I was
Let's
having a great
forget."
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, wait, I thought I was killing. Don't even. You have got something going on. Don't even worry about it.
Yeah.
right. Well, I said earlier that this brought a lot to me. I hadn't actually written anything even related to superheroes in a couple of years for the first time in decades of my life. A conscious choice to creatively move myself to other places, and so to come to this from a completely fresh perspective with a completely fresh collaboration was exactly what I needed personally to like just find the energy that I wanted for certain other things. And as I said, it's brought me back to something that I wanted to do in my world, and it created that energy in me that I needed to go pursue. So you're going to hear an announcement from Dark Horse soon, and I will tell Minor Threats fans that announcement is 100% because of how good this felt doing this. And you shouldn't buy comics just because the creators felt good making them, but I certainly, it's a reason I would buy a book. So I just couldn't wait to tell people this felt great. So I don't know how it feels reading it, but it felt great
That's
doing
amazing.
it.
Well, that
And
makes a scene really click, right? Because you have a great opening. Again, I don't want to spoil too much, but there's characters having a debate about superheroes. And now I'm like, oh, Brian was having a big conversation with himself as he was beginning to write this.
No, it wasn't. It's
So
funny because
good.
it wasn't about me. It was
Right.
about how many spaces I was walking into where people would find out what I've done for a living or what I do for a living, and they go, "Yeah, I'm not into Marvel." I'm like, "Oh, okay, oh." And then like the fact that you even know what Marvel is and have a hot take is still stunning to me. Like I'm still in I can't believe they've made a movie, let alone that,
Yeah.
like, Jimmy Woo Trends and Agatha All Along is on, making references on SNL. What the culture has turned into stuns me. And so people going back and forth on how they feel about superheroes kind of stuns me as well. I just wanted to uh, illuminate that idea a little bit. It was more thinking about the overall than it was about me and how I'm feeling about it. But I can understand where it felt where I may have been blowing off steam.
Well, there's one I really like. There's one line where, because you also wrote the characters as Patton and I, just spoiler,
Yes, I did.
but I think the version of me goes, I can't believe I just got here and people are over superheroes. And I was like, oh my Jesus. Get out of my
That
head,
really
Brian.
landed. That
Sorry.
hurt.
Sorry.
Guys,
Anyway.
we are describing one issue of a
Yeah.
4-issue anthology series, by the way, and it's that's how expansive and ever far-reaching the Minor Threats universe is and has been. Started with one volume, expanded into the alternates, a second volume of Minor Threats, and more and more and more. It seems like there's just more opportunity than ever. This world, this series, Welcome to Twilight, also I think is a springboard for even more characters and more stories to kind of pod off from it. And it's an exciting world to live in and to see and to watch expand. And again, it's like kind of one of those ground floor universes like Invincible or The Boys, where it's like, oh, I don't really know anything about this. Well, don't worry, jump in. Yeah, and Powers and Powers, yes, of course. Yeah, and more. But yes, folks, if you haven't already, check out this series. It is a 4-issue anthology series. It's coming from Dark Horse. This second
First issue by Matt Fraction and Mike Allred, and it's amazing. And
It is.
there is
win for
yeah.
best single of the year, and I'm very excited for people to see it.
It's an amazing issue. There is a moment I wanted to kind of like point out, and I don't want to, there's no spoilers really for this, but there is an homage panel that I know a couple of you guys saw immediately. I know I glommed onto it immediately once I saw it. And I feel like that's another opportunity for this universe is like it's not just a cynical treatise on superheroes. It's not a send up. It's not a, kind of deconstruction. It's just another world, but with this kind of irreverence of, Jordan and the like weaving of wit and darkness from Patton that brings us this this earnest depiction of superheroes. But in the first issue, there's a Glenn Fabry Preacher issue 4 homage that I was like immediately, oh my god! It's this great cover from Preacher where Jesse Custer grabs this angel and he's got his finger in his face, and you have a character Bronk in this first issue as wings, and they took that clearly. All Red's like, oh well, I'm gonna make a reference to this. Did you guys take any opportunities to go like, well, I mean, since we're all talking about superheroes, I'm gonna make a little reference here that you found in this anthology at least?
I mean, I'm ashamed I didn't get that, and I absolutely see it now. And now I'm gonna go back and reread it tonight. I think everyone is pulling, right? Like, obviously, there's analogs and this and that in this universe, and like that's what we always wanted Minor Threats to be. Is there's a lot of postmodern superhero stuff that's very cynical, and we wanted ours to be a love letter. We love the crazy stuff and the silly Silver Age stuff, and we want to investigate it and play with it and look at the reality of living in a world framed by that. So, we've always kind of explored the world that way, which is like, isn't this stuff great? Like, that's kind of the voice behind all the comics.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then I also think that now more than ever, people are more interested in seeing other things. I mean, no, I'm not saying people are bored of superheroes, but I think people are having like, they're restless and they're wanting to see more different characters and more creator-owned stuff. And I think people are getting more curious about it. And I think it's a really great time to start that, right? People want to see something outside of X-Men. I mean, everyone's going to love X-Men for the rest of their lives, right? But they want to see something else. They want to see different characters. They want to see different costumes. They want to see different styles. And I think Jordan and Patton are just harboring the best of the best in that. And honestly, like, really, like, lightning in a bottle. I mean, it really makes sense that you guys like really did this now. I think it's truly I think it's really incredibly smart, and I'm so like, I can't believe I'm a part of it.
And I know we're at the end, and I hate to bring up a thing, but like so you guys are working on, I imagine you guys are working on MODOK and its various incarnations, and at one point you turned to each other and said the beginning of this journey. Do you remember what the impulse was?
Yeah, it's a combo. I think I had always wanted to do something in the kind of like similar to the world of Rogues, like the D level guy. And Patton had a great idea for a Batman story that was told through their perspective, and really was kind of what the main story became of the idea of Joker making life hell for the little guys by taking the town hostage, right? That like,
Sure.
Who cares about chaos and bigger plans and revenge against Batman? We're just trying to rob jewelry stores, and this guy's making life hell for the little guys. So I think that's really the genesis, right, Patton? Like,
yeah, it was a idea I had called Jay, and it's about the Joker breaks out of Arkham, the Bat family comes down like a ton of bricks, and a literal C-list of villains: Calculator, Crime Boss, Copperhead, Crazy Quilt, and who was the other one? Clue Master had to get together, and they go, let's hand the Joker over to Batman. We'll get some credits in the favor bank. I just want to pull off our jobs. Like, in a weird way, they're very professional. Like, I'm not doing this for the weird art installation aspect of crime. I would like to rob some valuables and then resell them for a profit. That's all I'm doing here. What is this idiot doing? Why is he making all the fish smile? What does that get me? That doesn't get anybody anything.
So funny. Literally the other day, I was listening to a Blank Check episode where they were doing Batman Returns, the Danny DeVito Penguin Batman Returns, and they had a very similar conversation of, all right, what all the villains want is very, very different, and the Penguin wants everyone, like, they're trying to make him the mayor. He wants to eat you all. He said.
Listen, that would never happen, though. No one would elect a guy that's just openly threatening to kill. That's crazy. That's why it's a comic book.
That's why it's fiction, man. Yeah.
That's why we escape for comics for the fake stuff, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
So
There's
so
a
to
great
bring it,
there's a great John Milius film from the early 70s called Dillinger with Warren Oates as John Dillinger, and Richard Dreyfuss plays Babyface Nelson, and Pretty Boy Floyd, like all these professional criminals. There's a great scene where they're reading in the paper about Bonnie and Clyde and how much they hate these two punks that are making life hell for them, because they're like, we are professional criminals. These are teenagers on a spree, and they're getting all this press, and then they're making the FBI is now coming after us because they've made us all prime targets. They're I think one of them says, like, if the FBI doesn't catch them, I will kill them for what they're doing to us. And that's kind of the same idea.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that goes back to what I was saying earlier about real life stuff that which is based a little bit on real life stuff.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
this real life hook of what really goes on, it really can elevate and inspire all of these ideas. And the other thing I wanted to wrap around to this original impulse they had to make Minor Threats, it's that strong take. I mean, there's so many people who were like trying to come at the genre with, boy, I love Batman. I'm like, yeah, but dig deeper. Why? What is it? And what aren't you getting? Like, what aren't you getting out of the genre that you would like to go? And that's what Minor Threats explores, stuff they literally are answering towards the thing that they aren't getting. And I've done that over the years on certain projects as well. It is the best lesson to learn from this is how to collaborate and how to like find your angle in on an idea and really like laser focus on it to the point where you can open it up to dozens of other collaborators and everybody gets it. That's kind of like, not to put my teacher hat on, but there's cool things.
Yeah. That's one of the beauty parts of this whole universe is you get to see like any number of perspectives and it's still part of the same universe. It's a living, breathing place now.
That's absolutely true.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here and sharing your insights on this upcoming issue of Welcome to Twilight. And that's it. I'm really excited to have had you, and it's really lucky to get all of you in the same place at the same time and share your insights. And I'd say, pimp your stuff, but I think everybody knows who you are and where to get it.
I like the good pimping.
But let's go for it.
Stu, what do you got? Carmela Volume 2 it's out? It's out, right?
Yes, Carmela Volume 2 is out. The first one is already out last year. We won the Bram Stoker Award for it. The third volume, thank you very much. The third volume is coming out in October. It's the final stretch of the series. We got, our issue of Minor Threats, Welcome to Twilight coming out. I'm also, you can find me on Instagram, Suli Draws. I'm also on TikTok. I do art tutorials, so you can follow me there. Suli Draws. Yeah. So it's awesome. Mostly like, traditional, like this is what it looks like when you draw kind of things with like a speed run through, and then I kind of show you what supplies I use and stuff. So little educational entertainment, and something like fun to do.
Awesome.
I'll be doing a 10-minute set at the Comedy Store this coming Monday. I was able to win the free potato skins last year, so really looking forward to this one. It's just really coming together, and so I'm very excited about it. Come on out and cheer me on, guys.
I will promote my favorite Patton thing, which is Patton's appearances on Bananas for Bonanza, the Andy Davis podcast, where Patton only comes on as the guest for the Robert Altman directed episodes of Bonanza. It is true madness. It is a brilliant podcast. I don't think there is a better one, and I love it. And they keep having to rearrange the whole thing for Patton to show up for the Robert Altman episode.
We have scheduled a new one for the end of the month. It has been scheduled. It is happening.
Great. So, and if you think the words I sound made up, go look at iTunes, and it's been going on for years. It's him, Maria Bamford, Andy Daly, Matt Gorley. It's incredible.
I love it.
I would encourage everyone to pick up Welcome to Twilight 1 by Matt Fraction and Mike
Yes.
Jaw-dropping issue. that is available. And then next week, was it the 23rd, comes our issue 2 from these lovely people.
Yes.
And
Yes.
and we just announced our Archie crossover.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Very
what? How did that happen? That's
That's
amazing.
a whole other podcast, Brian.
Okay.
Open that door. Please, I'm begging you.
That's amazing. Well, awesome.
Thanks,
All right, and
everybody.
I'm jinxworld.com. You can find out all my Dark Horse stuff that's going on, including Masterpiece with Alex Maleev, the ones with Jacob Edgar, and a brand new announcement coming soon. And as I mentioned, I have a book series called Phenomena. The 3rd volume is coming out in just a few weeks from Abrams Comic Arts. It is a stunningly beautiful graphic novel series by my co-creator, Andre Lama Araujo, and we're very, very proud of it. And if you go take a look at it on any of my social media, and there you go.
And if
Nice.
you like Minor Threats, go read Powers, because we're just ripping it off.
Yeah, exactly.
How dare you?
They are so
check
not
it out.
ripping it off that you should absolutely read Powers. Thank
read
you very
Powers.
much. It's our 25th anniversary, don't you know?
Whoa.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, God, I'm old.
before. I know. You're yeah. I've spent a lot
I'm
of time
old.
dealing with these revelations in our lives of I'll leave it on this. I teach writing. I always bring up the original Star Wars as a 3-act structure. And this was the first semester where the kids raise their hand and go, "Oh, you mean the original one?" And I go, yeah, 1970. They go, "Oh, I've never seen that." And one of the other students goes, "Oh, you mean the British independent one?" They referred to the original Star Wars as a small British
No.
independent sci-fi film that the Star Wars
Oh,
universe built from, a la Doctor Who, in their heads.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
I made the whole class I'm going to put my head down now, and everyone sit quietly because you
Yep.
really upset me. So there you go.
Sunset
Although I
us
always
all.
liked, I love the Tom Baker Han Solo. That's my favorite Han Solo. Tom Baker plays it great.
All right, you'll think about this later. It'll be upsetting. All right.
I will. Trust
Thank
me, I
you
will.
so much, everyone. This was wonderful.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.